the task is to set up a test environment from scratch. Okay. Now the thing is, we have historically two test tools in our project, I'd say, or one is Jest. Jest is this testing framework from Facebook. And I'd say that this is good. However, it is kind of can be a bit of tricky to configure it with TypeScript and everything. So I, since that's why I'd kind of now prefer the Node.js test runner, and which is available out of the box. So I also have started to convert some of our projects to Node.js, to the test runner, because that is available everywhere without dependencies. And since it's part of Node, it also, if we have, for instance, TypeScript files, then because we run the TypeScript files to SWC, they will get executed. So if we start from scratch today, I would say that we start with this kind of test runner. So if we gonna set up our project from scratch, then what we most likely want to do is have TypeScript already for everything. So we actually should start with that and add a TypeScript configuration. Let's pick up one from our existing projects. So we can copy that. tsconfig JSON. That's my TypeScript file that I've just stolen from one of our projects. And now let's create a test TS file just to make sure the TypeScript works. Log hello from TypeScript. For that we install npx, so we can execute TypeScript files directly. Save exact and tsx, sorry. Npx comes with npm already, so now we can run npx tsx test ts and it works. So we have TypeScript there, and now we can start with our first test. So let's say we are writing a function that whatever sums up two numbers. So we have number sum spec.ts, and now instead of like in Jest, you are used to having be able to call describe that directly. So if I would say like my the number sum function, this is that's I have a feature from my screen recorder that I don't want. That does something. Halo. Oh yeah, I don't want halos. Nope. Okay. Yeah. It, for some reason, my equal sign doesn't work. Yeah. Ah, now it works. Okay. So my number sum, if I give it, I used an IT or test, it should sum up numbers, and then I have this is the just way of doing it. I call number sum with maybe a list of numbers to equal 6. So that would have worked in Jest, but since we are not using Jest, I first have to learn a bit about this, the Node test library. Is it called Node test? Test runner? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now it's complaining that I don't have installed the types for Node. And types Node. So that's a TypeScript problem. It's not a Node problem. So here, and now if I open it up again, yeah, now it works. So this also has these functions, describe and test. I like to use it instead of test. So I can now describe my tests, and for the, well, let's just call the function without assertion. Yeah, pass. So now I can, the test runner is, in the documentation you can read a bit about it, but the main argument is that you use node -- test, and then the files that the test runner should execute. So since this is TypeScript, we have to run it through TSX, but then it has the same arguments. So number sum. So I call it now very simple with one file. We'll talk about having multiple files later. But this is the idea. So I run the spec files against with TSX and the test command, and that will cause it to behave as a test runner. Now, for the assertions, there's also a built-in assert function. So Node.js, it's not called expect, but it's called Node.js assert. I'm just pulling up the documentation here. So, and it is called node assert, and from there I can import this this assert function, and it has some similar features to Jest and what Jest is using under the hood, so we can also use that. So I can import assert from node assert, and then I can actually write my test with an assertion, and assert has a bit different API. It has assert.equal, and the first parameter should equal the second one. So the API looks like this. So now I can run the test. It should fail because the number sum doesn't exist. So if I implement it here in this file, const number sum takes a list of number and returns a number. So if I do this, it will fail because it's not 6, and then I can start implementing it. So when I want to, there's no built-in watcher yet in so there's no watch function here. That what Jest gives you. Oh, huh. It is now. Okay, Great. So that problem is solved. I just wanted to talk about a way to solve that. But actually, since we have, I think, a very recent Node version, then we even have a watch function. So that means if I now start implementing this, then it will pass. Now this is hard-coded. So, and then we can kind of also apply some of the patterns we see with that we have with jest, for instance. I very often, if we have multiple arguments, work with a list of arguments. So this is in jest you have this dot each, and then you have an argument here with a list of arguments. That doesn't really work. However, if you that is only syntactical sugar, so we can actually build this also here in our test files, because in the end these are just function calls. So instead of having it here as dot each, we can create a for loop for